Welcome to Podnutz Daily for October 28th, 2008, episode number 106. I'm sorry, guys. I'm going to make an announcement here. Some of you may not like, but don't worry. This is going to be the last show for this week. Not going to have this show till the end, till next Monday of next week. I have too many things that I kind of have been piling up of projects I want to get done. I'm neglecting some things at the shop I have to handle, and just I gotta get on top of some things. I need some time. The problem with doing the show is I have to rush home from the shop to come here and do the show. I might be able to broadcast at the shop, but I don't have all my equipment and stuff like that. So if I have stuff I want to stay at the shop a little later, I can't do it while the show's going. And I don't want to rush and be not prepared for the show. So I'm just going to take these couple days, 3 days, and just catch up on everything I need to catch up on and get me up to speed. We'll still do the Great Tech Debate this Saturday, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and then continue Podnutz Daily Monday, whatever the day it will be. At which point I will announce, on Monday, I will announce the winner of the leaf blower. So sorry about that, guys, who are anticipating shows this week, but I gotta do it. I do have something interesting to talk about today. AVG. I don't know if you guys have been experiencing this or using this. I'm going to look at the chat room as I'm talking about this. Have you guys had problems with AVG installing it on systems, and then when you reboot the system, no taskbar and all the icons are gone? Explorer's not started, basically. The Windows Explorer's not started. Happened on like 4 machines today, 2 yesterday, and we narrowed it down to AVG. On one particular machine, even after we uninstalled AVG and did a system restore back to before we installed AVG, we're still having the problem. In most cases, though, we can do a system restore back to before we installed AVG, and it handles the problem. Ken's in the chat room says, yes, he's having that problem. Tommy, too, huh? Unbelievable, man. I put Avast on a couple machines, and it actually makes me really want to take a look at what Ken Watts was saying on a couple podcasts ago about reselling antivirus. He promotes, or not promotes, he resells Norman antivirus. Then I also heard Norton 2009 is a lot faster than it used to be, so I have an email to read about that. Ken uses Avira. Yeah. Well, what was I going to say? Let's see. Well, yeah, I mean, I'd have to go back to using Avast. That's what we did for a couple machines. And, you know, today was the last straw. You know, we were both working on machines, and my dad installed AVG on a machine he had just completed doing everything else. And just last thing to do was AVG, and it just crashed the machine. So, no more AVG unless they fix it. It's a shame. I liked using AVG. Okay. Very curious if anybody else is having that problem. Johnny says he wrestled AVG on a laptop to install errors, got it installed. Yeah, it's not even like an install error. It's just like it crashes the machine. Like no error messages or anything. Explorer just does not start when you restart the machine. Same symptom on like 4 or 5 machines. So something's wrong there. You know, I did a Google search for Google under the news section under AVG and nothing. So I can't imagine that nobody's really talking about this. Okay, let me go on some other things here, guys. I had a Dell Inspiron, what model was it? Like 6000. Blue screen of death. And the blue screen, it was a blue screen with not giving you the error message that is actually going wrong with it, just like a generic blue screen. I think it gave the stop code error, maybe not, but it was blue screen crash. Anyway, most of the times when I get a blue screen crash while Windows is loading, like either before you see the Windows start screen or before you see the Windows start screen, I do like a check disk /R from the recovery console, and then I do fix boot. And a lot of times it handled it. Today, that handled the problem. So whatever was causing the blue screen is now gone. Check disk handled it. And then I just go ahead and optimize the machine and make sure everything's running properly and nothing's totally crashed. And, you know, a lot of times I get a repair done that way. another customer was having a problem with setting up Outlook Express to use with their Comcast email. And maybe a year or two ago, Comcast, I think, had changed their outgoing mail server from 25 to 587. So if you're having problems setting up your email, Outlook Express or Thunderbird or whatever you're using, set the Comcast outgoing mail server, the SMTP server, to 587. Outgoing mail server on Comcast is smtp.comcast.net. Incoming mail server is mail.comcast.net, if I'm not mistaken. So that was the whole problem with that one. So we just changed that, and she was up and running. Had a Gateway laptop come in. This customer said all of a sudden she couldn't access any of her files. All of her files had just disappeared and were gone. But the computer was still running and booting, but nothing on her desktop, and there was nothing in her My Documents and that kind of thing, and her pictures and all that stuff just disappeared. She can't access it. Well, we thought that was strange too. When we booted the machine up, it booted up just fine. Actually, in fact, it booted up great. And then we looked on her desktop. She was right. There was nothing. Looked into My Documents. She was right. There was nothing. Looked in the root directory of the hard drive. Found a folder called Backup, October 26, 2008. And we opened that folder, and it was basically a complete copy of her hard drive in that folder. Everything in the root directory was copied into there, as well as all of her documents and settings and user files and everything. What it was a gateway. We found out it was a gateway. She did a system recovery, which she neglected to tell us. She did a system recovery, non-destructive system recovery on a gateway. And I guess what they do is it stores everything on the hard drive into a folder on the hard drive, and it reinstalls the operating system and all the original applications. So if you do a non-destructive recovery and you can't find the files, look in the root directory. Do a find or a search, and you'll find the folder that they're in. They're in there somewhere. So HP does it too with a non-destructive recovery, system recovery. They like to hide the files sometimes. We'll play an voicemail from Simon here real quick.
Hi, good day, Steve. This is Simon calling from slightly overcast but not too bad Pembrokeshire. Firstly, I owe you a big apology. You very kindly asked me to take part in the Great Tech Debate a couple of weekends ago, and unfortunately I had to bow out at the last minute. Basically, it turned out my little boy was actually not very well. He had quite an unpleasant ear infection, which we had to deal with. So apologies for having to let you down at the last minute.
No problem.
Hopefully the show went okay without me anyway. So hopefully when it's broadcast, I will have a listen and see what happened.